Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. Today I'm going to make something that's already in the holiday catalogue, and it's in the Brightly Gleaming suite, and I really love this card here and this card here. So I've decided that for the next 2 weeks I'm going to try and do some casing from the catalogue, which just means copy and share everything. So it just means that you take a picture and you copy it. Sometimes you can change little details and sometimes you leave it just the same. And I love these two cards so much that I'm going to do them just the same. And today's, I'm going to start with this one. I really love all the copper elements at the moment, and this card has so much of the copper foil and the, let me show you, these brightly gleaming foil elements and the foil itself, and they do also use these little stars as well, but I'm going to show you a different way to use the little stars, not buying these ones but making your own little stars. Okay, so to start off, I know it's a Night of Navy background. The only thing I wasn't sure about was if this designer series paper was on the whole of the card or if it was just a piece of standalone paper that was attached here at the left hand side. And I decided to go with just the paper and the standalone part of it. And let me show you how I made that. So my cardstock, instead of being just a normal card, I cut it slightly differently. I've still got it scored, but I cut it so that the fold over piece was much narrower. And if you look on my blog, all the sizings will be on my blog, and that's the craftsbythebow.blogspot.com. And then I cut the DSP the same size as the back, or would have been the front of the card, and I'm going to attach it just like that. And that way, when you open the card, you've got the beautiful backing as well that you can see. So let's attach that. So we're only going to put glue on this little strip here. And I'm going to use my fast fuse, but you could use your liquid glue as well. I will actually be using liquid glue later on, but for this piece, I'm just using my fast fuse. And I'm going to line it up. This is the piece I want on the front. So I'm going to line it up with the back of the card. And then I'm just going to flap that over. Sort of push it right over. And that way it makes the whole front of the card. And as you open it, you can see that nice backing. And I've got a little piece of the Very Vanilla that I'm going to put inside so that I can do my sentiments there. So that's the basis of the card made. That's the whole of the base card. And I had just a tiny little bit of the paper left that I'd cut off the bottom here. And so I decided that that was going to be the decoration for my envelope. So might as well do that while we're here. And I've chosen a Very Vanilla envelope as well, just to match the colour for the inside. And it's a perfect size, look, for the left hand side of your envelope. And then it's all matchy-matchy. I liked that. So that's my envelope already done. Now, let's look again at the front of the card. We need this big star. And to make that, I used the stitched star dies. I didn't buy the whole bundle, I only bought the dies. I didn't want the stamp set, but I really love the die set. So I used this, the largest one, and I cut it out on just a small piece of copper foil. And let's get those pieces out. So here's that one. And then I took the next smallest, which is this one over here, and I cut that out on the Very Vanilla, and that just nestles inside there perfectly. And then with those copper elements that I showed you, those foil elements, I used one of these, and that's what they've used on their card. I just took one of these out, and then that will nestle just on top of there as well to make that beautiful star. I'm just going to attach that. I'm going to put the card piece on with my fast fuse, or you could use snail or your liquid glue. And then let's pop that on there. And then I'm going to use my liquid glue to attach this one. I don't want to use snail or anything because it will go through these little gaps, and you will end up with little sticky bits on there. So I'm just going to use my Tombow, and I'm going to put little dots on the back wherever I think it's wide enough to get the glue on. I don't want it to come squeezing out and onto the Very Vanilla card, but I just need enough that it's going to keep that adhered down. Let's see. And then I'm just going to pop that on the top, and it fits really nicely in there. And this way, using the liquid glue as well, it gives you a little bit of time just to push the star around a little bit before the glue sets, so that you know you've got it in the right place. There we go. And that will just take a few seconds to dry, and that's all. So we'll leave it on the side while we make the other elements. Now my phone just made a little dinging noise. Wasn't sure what that was. I think it's probably just a text message or something. I was hoping it wasn't that the battery was low. Okay, so the next part that we need is the little holly berries and leaves. And so with the Christmas Gleaming stamp set, I've stamped this onto Very Vanilla card, and I've used the Delicata Celestial Copper ink. Now this isn't available anymore in North America, so if you don't have this one, you could use one of the brown inks. Let me just get it and show you. Something like Sahara Sand or the Crumb Cake, and when you actually stamp with that, it does look a little bit sort of goldy bronze. It doesn't look copper, but it does look goldy bronze. So you could use that, or the soft suede. But I use the Delicata because that's what I still have. It takes a little while to dry, so if you are stamping with this, make sure you give it time to dry before you start to colour. I'm just going to get a little piece of scrap. Okay, so I've got a little piece of scrap. It's actually a piece from the Stamparatus by the look of it. And in the picture, I'm not sure if this isn't the Mossy Meadow that they've coloured with, but I don't have that colour in my blends. So I'm going with Shaded Spruce. You could use the Old Olive, you could use the Pear Pizzazz, whatever of the colours you have. And then I'm just quickly and lightly going over all of the leaf. And it doesn't matter that you're going over the top of the ink. It will just shine through. Don't go over it too many times though. You don't want that Delicata ink to start to run or anything. Okay. So we're going to colour both leaves, but we're not going to colour the berries. In the card that we're casing, the berries are left as Very Vanilla. And to me that looks more like mistletoe berries, but I'm going with the card because that's how they've created it, and that's the one I fell in love with. So I'm going to do it just the same. But if you wanted to make them red, you could. Okay, so that's that. And there's no more colouring, but we are going to fussy cut this out. And you've seen me fussy cut this before on one of my other cards. And I cut right up to the edge on this. I don't want a little border, So I'm just making my hand do the work and turn the card. And then when you've got it all cut out, I won't bore you by showing you how to cut that out all the way. When you've got it all cut out, remember how when I stamped it in black that time, I took the black marker pen and did all the edges. This time I'm using my blender pen in the bronze, and I'm just going over the edges so that you can't see any of the very vanilla where I've, you know, not cut it quite straight, or I haven't cut right up to the copper ink. Okay. Then let's leave that to dry for a moment or two as well. And we're going to stamp the sentiment. And the sentiment is also from the Christmas Gleaming. It's this little Merry Christmas. And because I coloured my leaves in Shaded Spruce, I'm actually going to stamp my sentiment too in Shaded Spruce. So just tap that ink on there. This is quite a wet, juicy pad, as you can see, because I've only just refilled it. And I'm just going to hold it for a second or two because it is so wet. There we go. And let's clean that little stamp before I put it down. Okay. And then I'm just going to cut this out, and I'm going to leave the tiniest, tiniest little border. And I'm going to use my long scissors. You don't have to be perfect when cutting these kind of things. Or if you don't want the border, just cut right up to where the green ink is. You don't have to leave a little border at all. I like the long bladed scissors for cutting out like that, because you don't have to snip so much. So you're more likely to get a nice straight line. Okay, now let's have a look at assembling. So they've got the star over the front, and then the holly berries. Looks like they might be on dimensionals, and it has a little piece of the linen thread. And then the sentiment looks like it's, I don't know if it's on dimensionals or not. I think I might just glue it down. And I'm actually going to glue this down so that it's not too heavy or too thick for sending through the post. You could, of course, put it just on dimensionals, but if I put this on dimensionals and then the holly on dimensionals, the depth of that, it would probably pop it into the next category for postage, and I really don't want that. Okay, now this is on a jaunty little angle, so let's put it on that little angle there, and then let's put our sentiment on. Oops, can't pick it up, there we go. And again, I'm just going to glue that flat. I'm going to glue it over here. Okay, and then we need the linen thread. And they seem to have done 3 little loops. So I'm going to do 2 round, well, 1 round 2 fingers, 1 round 3 fingers, and sort of one a bit, oh, dropped it. So 1 round 2 fingers, 1 round 3 fingers, and 1 round 4 fingers. I'm going to keep it pinched at the top there. And then what I like to do when I'm doing loops of twine and things, I'm going to put that top pinched edge onto a dimensional, and that just keeps it all together like that. Doesn't matter if nothing else sticks on that dimensional. As long as I've got that on, when I put it towards my holly berries, I know that I can sort of hold those there, and I can still tweak the circles round, but it means that they're stuck on there, and they're stuck together. But I am going to put dimensionals on these holly leaves as well. And then let's pop that one on where the berries would be. And then we can tweak round our little circles how we want them. I'm just going to take the back ends off the other two. And then it looks like the berries go this way, and they have one of the circles of twine going out a little bit. So I'm just going to take, oops, just take the backing off that one. I stuck my finger on there, didn't mean to. So I'm going to stick that. I'm going to stick that just onto the back there. Okay, and then they've got the bigger one going round there, and that little one's just like that, and then this, I'm going to stick it over the back of that dimensional. And where does this end go? I don't think you can see that end. Oh yes, it goes across. So I'm just going to turn it over. Now I know this looks a bit fiddly for doing the twine, but I just find it the easiest way to have it stuck on the dimensionals, and that way I know it's going to be sticking down, it's not falling off, and I don't have to worry about it. Okay, oh, I've got that one, look, stuck on the leaf there. Let's just move that. Okay, that circle there looks a wee bit big, so I'm just going to shorten it by sticking it back on that dimensional there. And then this seems to stick over the top, like that. Okay, let's see. So that's how the twine is going. One stuck up there, one across. Next thing is these little tiny copper elements. Now I do have those copper elements, and they are beautiful, but I actually want these for another project, so I don't want to use them today. And so what I thought was, I still have the old little star punch, and you can certainly punch out on your excess card, or on this gold foil, on the copper foil I mean. You can see you've got lots of little spaces, and you could certainly punch out those as well, or you could use these little elements, these little stars. I think that would look pretty cute too. But I've done both. I've done some from the copper foil element pages and some from my actual copper foil. And I'm just going to have a look to see which I like best on there. I really like the copper foil ones because they're the exact same copper colour. And I'm just going to pop them on with a little glue dot. You could put them on with one of the small dimensionals if you wanted, but I just want to use the glue dots. And where did they put them? They've got two down here. Let's pop these two down here. Oh, that one looks like it's lost a little part of the point, but I don't think anybody will notice. Let's stick it down here and just under that little sentiment there. And that way you can't tell that I didn't cut all the points off. Okay, and then another one goes up at the top. I'm going to pop it up here. Oops, let's pop it there. Okay. Now, you can see that the little foil elements, because I've pressed my finger on them, they've got just a little bit sort of, I think that might be a little bit of glue. What you can do is just take a Kleenex or a little cloth, just buff them up. And then you can't see those finger marks, or that little glue mark. There, all shiny again. Okay. So there it is. That's my card that I've cased. I don't know if it's quite right. I don't know if it's quite the same, but that's the one that I loved in this brightly gleaming suite. And I hope you loved that too. So let's pop that back, and then Next time it will be my Simple Sunday, so I won't be making one of these, but I would like to use this one of the weeks, and case this one as well. So thanks very much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that project, and thank you to those new subscribers that I have. My numbers are now at 920, so I only have 80 more to go to get to my 1,000, and I am so excited about that. Thank you everybody who's subscribed, everybody who's given me a thumbs up or a share. It really, really is appreciated. Thanks everybody. See you all again very soon. Bye bye.